Hey everyone, welcome to another WVSN, wvsportsnet.com broadcast, back from West Madison at the Hawks Nest at Scott High School as the state-ranked Scott Skyhawks look to take care of another Cardinal Conference foe. Last time we saw them, John, they took care of the Herbert Hoover Huskies in a sloppy game.
Yeah.
Since then, they lost a tough one down at Bluefield. They got them coming in next week, but the task at hand is the Tulsa Miners, Rebels, not Tulsa.
Right.
They got these UTEP Miner outfits out here looking exactly like UTEP. Threw me off there a little bit. But, they're 6-12. Their record is a little deceiving because they went to the same EQT Classic down in Kentucky, down there at Pike Central, if I'm not mistaken. And
it's at Pikeville High School.
Pikeville High School, okay, thank you. And they won not only the two-ball competition, they won the three-point contest. With their individual players, they had individual talents and stuff, like a little all-star thing down there.
Right.
And we saw in the FSN thing that, Tulsa won two of the three things. Yeah. So they have the skill level there.
Right.
And they're led by Coach Hatfield. And, and Scott plays like they did against Herbert Hoover and let a team hang around.
Right.
We could see this Tulsa team coming out of here with an upset.
Well, that they've already played one time, Tony. They played on December 7th. It was 60-56. First game of the year for the Hawks. They went to Tulsa and was successful. They won big night by Ward, 30-some-odd points. We talked about it in our very first sports show, actually. So, they've seen each other, Cardinal Conference foes. Look, I think you kind of throw the record out, Tony, the second time you play a team because, they've looked at you, they got film on you, they studied you. So I expect a whole nother outcome here tonight. I don't know that Tulsa will up in the Hawks. But I'm ready for another good game. 4 points in the last contest. I expect another close one.
Yeah, and that 60 points is just a little too much for Coach Kingery's liking. So expect that Skyhawk defense to be the determining factor as it normally is for these Skyhawk teams. The players will even tell you 75% of the practice defense, 25% offense.
Yep.
Defense is his best offense, Coach Kingery, and he does that every single time. We've seen him against Sissonville, Herbert Hoover, just to name a couple of the games. And defensive pressure, they're very good on the offensive sets. They pass the ball around, look for the right shot, and of course they're going to be trying to get into the Twin Towers, especially down low to Justin Harmon, who Tulsa seems to be a little undersized, as most teams in the Cardinal Conference are against 2'6" guys, because there ain't too many of them around in AA in the whole state of West Virginia, let alone two on the same team as Scott.
And and very few of them had the athletic ability that Dave Ward has. He showcased at the first game of the year, like we talked about, 32, 34 points in that range. We've yet to see him go off on WVSN. So tonight could be the night. He's got Tulsa's number, so be interesting to see. But like you stated, 75% of practice is defense, 25% is offense. Kingery's philosophy has always been, I'll just create enough turnovers and I'll just, layups on the other end.
Yeah.
So conflicting styles are going to hit here tonight, Tony, because you talked about the skills competition. Tulsa's going to be able to shoot, dribble, and pass, with the best of them. They went down. There were some pretty good teams in that Pikeville tournament, the EQT Classic, so they wasn't no scrubs that they were up against. So
out of three states, so you can't just say they were playing just northern Kentucky, southern West Virginia competition. They had teams from all over the state of Kentucky and also that came all the way down from Pennsylvania. Big tournament. Big tournament. And Scott had a very good showing down there, placed third. They made it to, they lost in the semifinals game, but they won their third place game. And although Tulsa won the skills event, Scott was the ones with the big winners.
That's right.
And they got that third place and, bragging rights. And I believe they got maybe an invite already for next year with their performance.
They did, yeah. I think Coach Kingery elaborated on that. They wanted them back again next year. So, yeah, it's a good event for the kids to go to. And, Scott represent West Virginia well. Normally you're one and done at them type of tournaments, Tony. But they like Jason and his boys and his program well enough to invite him back. So, congratulations.
And although Scott, again, they were ranked in the top, in the sixth in the state at one point before a recent loss. I haven't seen the new polls out yet, but either way, they're still going to be a top 10 team in the state.
Yeah.
Unless they go on a big losing streak. But the losses they have, it's not like they're against like slobs. They lost a team out of I think it was Allen Central, Kentucky, who won the tournament down there to second place. They lost to Pikeville. But, they lost to Polka, who has the Coffee kid, who's maybe going Division I football. I know a lot of college coaches in the conference, or at least, are drooling over that kid. They're ranked 1 or 2 in the state. They lost to Bluefield, who's always a tough team in the state to face in AA. And, but again, kind of like the same thing with Logan. They don't quite have the Northland, Ohio, and Prince State Academy coming in. But Kingery does a great job of loading up his schedule. So that way down the stretch in the March Madness there, and they're in sectional regional, they're going to see a lot of teams that, different teams. And Kingery's going to be confident knowing that they've seen at least a little bit of what every team can offer with the variety of schedule and out-of-conference games they played with the talent level.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about it all the time in our in-game broadcasts. None of our schools that we cover, Tony, are scared to play anybody.
No.
I mean, that says something. I mean, Scott's only got 600 kids. Logan, they're a AAA school. They go and play 6A schools out of state. They're really not scared. So they make their team better by playing. You always hear you got to practice, and yes, you do, kids. You have to practice, but there's nothing that'll ever simulate or emulate, I should say, a game. Being in game shape, being game ready. So, yeah, I like what Jason, Hatch, Plumlee, all of them do. They're not scared to play anybody. It's another classic example. We talk about the EQT Classic. Scott and Tulsa were probably by far the smallest schools down there. And they represented West Virginia well. So,
yeah, I mean, they had nothing to hang their heads down about at all at their performance. I mean, I'm sure they were disappointed they didn't win the whole kit and caboodle.
Right.
But, a third place finish, had to exceed the expectations, maybe not of the team, but at least of the community, the Scott Skyhawk community around the Madison area here. It's a very supporting community of these Skyhawks that love their Hawks, and they want to see them succeed. And, not the biggest turnout. It's Tulsa. It's not Chapmanville in town or anything like that. But, still a lot of people here, and the majority of them Scott Skyhawk fans.
Well, it's a makeup game, too, Tony.
Oh, that's right.
We're playing on a Monday night makeup game. A lot of people may not even knew the game was being played today.
Right.
But
the game was actually originally supposed to be scheduled at the Madison Civic Center, but they got switched around with Wayne. So, a little change of venues. In case you missed it, luckily we're here to bring you action here. Again, my name's Tony Lane. This is John Foster, and we are wvsportsnet.com. And we'll be right back with the opening tip-off, again, on wvsportsnet.com.
Your sports voice of the Valley.